November 28, 2023 meeting of the Richmond Sanitary District Board of Commissioners is called to order. The first item of business is approval of board minutes from November 14th of 2023.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion of approval of board minutes for November 14th, 2023 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the board minutes of the November 14th, 2023 meeting as presented. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is approval of invoices from check date November 10th and 17th of 2023.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Steens.
I'll make a motion to approve invoices for check date run November 10th and 17th, 2023, totaling $150,967.31. We had one significant invoice from Richmond Power and Light for $42,897.37.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve invoices from check dates November 10th and 17th of 2023 totaling $150,967.31. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item of business is the director's report.
Yes, Madam President and Board, I do not have a lot before you today. Reminder, now that most of the leaves are on the ground, that the leaf pickup is still going on here for a couple weeks. See that schedule on the website for more information if you still need that. I do want to make note that I don't have it here, but as next Monday to City Council, we'll be presenting another grant ordinance more for the MRF recycling that we've been doing several steps toward, but there will be one presented there that will be submitting an IDEM grant for recycling. And I think that's all I have for you today, unless there are other questions.
Questions? Thank you.
Yep, and I will get you the monthly report and the year-end report next month in January.
Okay. The next item of business is the recommendation to approve wastewater residuals permit number R-DEI-2023, 24, 25, and 26 for D&E initiatives expiring 11/1 of 2026.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
motion to approve as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the wastewater residual permit as presented. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation to enter into an agreement with Countryside Auto for vehicle collision repair.
Yes, Madam President, just quickly, this is a city contract that is before you to sign for sanitation's portion.
Any motion or question? We've done this for a couple of years now, haven't we?
Yes,
It's gone in with the city.
Mhm.
So, entertain a motion.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Steens?
make a motion to approve contract number 197-2023 with Countryside Auto for vehicle collision repair for the Richmond Sanitary District.
I second.
There's been a motion and a second to enter into a contract number 197-2023 with Countryside Auto for collision repair for the district. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation for the award purchase of cellular service tablets for asset management.
Yes, Madam President and Board. As part of the implementation of our asset management software and overall program, we needed to purchase the hardware associated with it, basically to be able to give people the ability to both input data and receive data in the field. This will help with work orders and having that information at your fingertips available for use, as well as you're out there getting work orders or pushing work orders back and forth with things. So we went through basically everybody that will be using the software, looked at the need for a device, and then further looked at the need of does it need to be cellular or does it need to be Wi-Fi based? Like for instance, the ones there at the treatment plant that really don't leave have no need. They don't do a lot of field work, so they can use the Wi-Fi there at the treatment plant. So in doing that, we tallied up the number of devices, and then one of the things that we did was offer either, some people either use Android or iOS software, and in order to try not to create a new learning curve for people, offered their choice, I guess, to do that, which is goes to a recommendation that we had heard from other communities as well. So, so the first one here is for cellular devices. Verizon is the vendor that we currently use. We actually got even better pricing from them for this, and you'll see compared to some other places that I just got some pricing. Jess and I worked on getting some pricing for these other ones as well, and Verizon pricing for the devices came in well under anyone else. So it's our recommendation to award this through the state QPA number 9847 to Verizon for the purchase of 31 Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Pluses and 9 10th generation iPads for a total cost for the devices themselves of $31,190. 30% of this will be used or will be funded through stormwater, so that will come to that board here in a bit. And I would ask that you authorize Sue probably to sign the discount offer that's associated or that was included in the packet.
Thank you. And I guess I think it's important maybe to point out when we talk about asset management for the district, we're talking not just tables and chairs and such, but we're also talking about the entire network of our service, of our
It is. It's
lines and
300 and some miles of sewers, 10,000 manholes and inlets, along with every piece of equipment at our treatment plant, our trucks, our vehicles, buildings, any asset that we have that has a life that we have to look at replacing. This will help us keep maintenance schedules. This will help us track and use data to make decisions on when things should be replaced. Is a vehicle starting to prematurely wear out and start to nickel and dime us, or our sewers when it comes to that? How often do we need to clean each particular section? This is going to start allowing us to collect that data and use that data to make us more efficient. And so and it will be used by every department, from landfill to trash and recycling to sewer maintenance and wastewater maintenance and operations. And so it will be utilized by everyone.
And that's another, I guess, important point, that the data is only as good as what's
Yes.
what's entered, and to make certain that it is being entered timely and to be able to capture all of the information.
Yes. Yep.
And I think another point you've made earlier, maybe not today, was that some of our grants in the future, or SRF, is requiring that we have.
It is.
Yes.
So asset management is a requirement now for us to be able to get those low-interest loans through SRF. They implemented that a couple years ago, and this is part of that requirement to be able to continue to capture those reduced rate funds, which over the years I just told someone this morning, of all of our loans or debt service that we have, I think there is only one small one that has an interest rate above 2%. And so the debt service that we have is very low compared to what it could have been had we went open market every time. So as we have, it's important for us to be able to go ahead and continue to capture those as we can.
Other questions?
Just quick, as far as like the software that's going to be used for this, I don't recall, was there training involved?
Yeah, so there is training, and we've just started the process in the City Works implementation schedule of meeting with departments. So we met with the first department a couple of weeks ago, have another meeting this Thursday to go through workflows. So just kind of tip of the iceberg kind of thing with that. But then there'll be training. We want everybody to be involved throughout the process. But then once it gets going, we'll get it. People start using it, and then make comments, questions. We can go back, customize it even more, tailor it to exactly what we want. So, and we have that ability to have them come back for training as needed. But there's a lot built into the process already.
Thank you.
Another question.
Yes.
So being that it's a cellular service tablets, is there a monthly recurring fee for each?
There will be, yes, yep, and it's at the discounted rate. It's like, I think it's $30
Per device?
per device, correct. Oh yeah, it's in here, $29.99.
I missed it, sorry.
No, that's all right. I forgot it was in there too, so.
Any other questions or comments or a motion?
President Miller?
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
Motion for recommendation to award purchase of cellular service tablets for asset management as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to award the contract to Verizon for cellular tablets as presented. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. The next item of business is the recommendation toward the purchase of Wi-Fi tablets for asset management.
Madam President, Board, this is the same as what we talked about. This is just the Wi-Fi devices. So we priced three places, one being through Sourcewell, which is CDWG. And they were the cheapest, and they met the requirements of being 3%, had to be at least 3% lower than the others to be able to award it through Sourcewell. But that is what the recommendation is, to award 10 Samsung tablets and 4 iPads to CDWG for a total purchase price of $11,347.92. And again, 30% of this will come from stormwater funds.
Questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Steens.
I'll make a motion to award the contract to CDWG. It's part of the Sourcewell contract, correct?
Yes.
For 10 Samsung Galaxy tablets and 4 iPads for a cost not to exceed $11,347.92.
A second?
There's been a motion and a second to award a contract under Sourcewell for the asset management hardware purchase to CDW-G for 10 Samsung Galaxy tablets and 4 iPads for a total not to exceed $11,347.92. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation to award the quote for the 2024 printing to commercial printing.
Madam President and Board, this is for our printing services for the year 2024 with the option to renew 2025 and 2026. It's with commercial printing out of Connorsville. They were the lowest. It's approximately $4,079.90 a month. And as you see, it's a substantial savings that we've quoted out this time. This year, we did do the option to allow optional printing for other departments within the district that may be needed. So I didn't want to say a not-to-exceed amount, since there is the option that other forms can be printed and such. But for the billing, the cost was, if we ordered everything every month, each month would be $4,079.90. And we have used them prior to our current contract, and they did a really nice job.
Any questions or comments?
I think wasn't the cost so high because of COVID? It was extremely high
It was
or this year.
the paper cost.
The paper cost was very high.
Yeah, it was
Yeah. So we're back-
post-COVID when that lumber
Yeah.
hit. Lumber for housing went there, and then paper went up 300%, and this kind of comes back down to
It's back to
pre-2021
normal.
cost, yeah.
Good.
I will entertain a motion.
President Miller?
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
Motion for recommendation to award quote for 2024 printing to commercial printing as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to award the quote for, did you say 2024?
Yes.
We do have an option. You wanna put that in?
Okay, yeah, recommendation to award quote for 2024 and 2025 as presented, or to commercial print.
You wanna- Okay,
2026.
To 2026, okay.
Yeah.
Recommendation to award quote for 2024 with options for 2025 and 2026 printing services to commercial printing as presented.
okay.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to award the quote for printing supplies for 2024 with the option to renew for 2025 and 2026 to commercial printing as presented. I said it. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation to award the quote for a Ford Escape.
Yes, Madam President, Board. We took bids on November 14th for a Ford Escape. We received two, with the winner being Wetzel Ford here in Richmond for a 2024 Ford Escape. And it's our recommendation to award a purchase agreement to Wetzel Ford for a 2024 Ford Escape as specified for a total purchase price after trade-in of a 2014 Ford Explorer of $25,975. And 30% of this one as well will be funded through stormwater.
Questions or comments or a motion?
President Miller,
Yes, Mr. Steens?
I'll make a motion to award the quote for a 2024 Ford Escape to Wetzel Ford for a price not to exceed $25,975.
I second.
There's been a motion and a second to award the quote for a 2024 Ford Escape to Wetzel Ford for an amount not to exceed $25,975. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation to award the quote for a salt spreader.
Yes, Madam President, and board members, at our last board meeting, we received quotes for a new Boss VBX 8,000 salt spreader. Bid tab is included below. Randy Wright and I have reviewed the quotes, and it is our recommendation to the board to award this purchase and installation of the Boss VBX 8,000 salt spreader to Hoosier Battery of Richmond, Indiana, in the amount of $7,560. Hoosier Battery was the lowest, most responsive and responsible company to quote this.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
President Miller?
Yes, Mr. Bakshi?
Motion to approve purchase of salt spreader as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the purchase of a salt spreader as presented. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item of business is the recommendation to reject the quotes for an LED sign.
Yes, Madam President. At our last meeting, we did receive 3 quotes for a new digital LED electronic message center for the sanitary district, and at this time is my recommendation to reject the quotes on this.
Will we be rebidding this, Jeff?
We'll be rebidding it after the first of the year.
First year?
Yep.
Okay. President Miller?
Yes, Mr. Steens?
Make a motion to reject the quotes for the digital LED electronic message center for the Richmond Sanitary District.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second to reject the quotes received for the digital electronic messaging center for the district that were received. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to miscellaneous. And is there any other business to be brought before the board today?
I have a question, maybe. What are the hours going to be? I think we're going to have another meeting, but what are the hours for the landfill and stuff? Do we know that for as far as like the holidays and everything coming up? Maybe I'm a little soon on that question, but, and that's, you guys could probably answer that at the next meeting.
Yeah, we can
We'll
do
get
that.
you the schedule for over the holidays,
Yeah,
and even we'll go through the trash pickup too, if that's,
Yeah, which the trash pickup's on the website already. Yeah, the landfill maybe, I'd have to look, but we can go over that
Okay.
specifically. And we've been using lately, Josh Imhoff, the community development coordinator, to post those schedules on the city's Facebook page, social media pages before they happen, so to reiterate that.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second.
There's been a motion and adjourn. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I will turn the meeting over to President Steens for the Stormwater Board.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the November 28th, 2023 Richmond Sanitary District Stormwater Management Board meeting. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes from November 14th of 2023.
President Steens, I'd like to propose a motion for approval of minutes from November 14th, 2023 as presented.
And I will second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2023 meeting as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the approval of invoices for check date run November 10th of 2023.
President Steens, I would like to make a motion to approve the invoice from check date November 10th of 2023 totaling $449.77.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve invoices for check date run November 10th, 2023 for $449.77. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the recommendation to award the purchase of cellular service tablets for asset management. Since we've gone over this already at the previous meeting, I think all we need to have is a motion to approve the cost sharing with stormwater.
President Steens, I'd like to propose a recommendation to award purchase of cellular service tablets for asset management. Stormwater will be responsible for 30% of the cost.
And I will second the motion.
A motion and a second to award the purchase of cellular service tablets for asset management, where stormwater will contribute 30% of the cost, to pay for the cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the recommendation to award the purchase of the Wi-Fi tablets for asset management. Same thing, this was covered at the previous meeting, and this is where there's a cost sharing of 30% requested for the stormwater funds. Could I have a motion, please?
President Steens, I would like to make a motion to award the purchase of Wi-Fi tablets for asset management with the stormwater participation at 30% of the cost.
Second.
A motion and a second to award the purchase of Wi-Fi tablets for asset management, wherein the stormwater funds will be used to pay for 30% of the cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Again, next on the agenda is the recommendation to award a quote for the 2024 Ford Escape. Again, this was awarded at the sanitation meeting, and again, this is where we requested that stormwater funds be used to pay for 30% of the cost.
President Steens, motion for a recommendation to award quote for 2024 Ford Escape, where stormwater will be responsible for 30% of the cost.
And I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to award the quote for the 2024 Ford Escape, in which stormwater funds will be used to pay for 30% of the cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is miscellaneous. I do have one thing to mention for the public. If they notice that there are leaves gathered around storm inlets, maybe in front of their house or something, it would be good if they could go out and rake those away, so that if we do have a large storm event, that we don't have flooding in the streets. And that's all I have. Does anyone have anything else? Hearing none, could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I so move.
Second.
We are adjourned.